it's Jazz at Red Panda Reads, and today I'm doing another board game video. Woo! So today I thought I'd go through all my legacy games, but not Pandemic Legacy, because I have never played it, but right now I refuse to play it because I have had enough. So what are legacy games? So legacy games are games which are supposed to be played over a number of different campaigns, and it is a continuous process, normally involving the same players and often not replayable. There may be certain things that happen within the game where you actually destroy certain bits of the game, like tear up cards, write on certain things, or just the fact that once you've found certain clues, you can't really go back and play it again because you already know what happens. And they're really, really great games to play during lockdown because they tend to take time and you tend to have to be committed. And I thought I'd go through them. I have some fantastic games here. I have some, I have mixed thoughts games, and I have one game that my partner has beaten me on every single time, and it's infuriating. But I beat him at Carcassonne. He has beaten me once at Carcassonne in the whole time we've been together for the last 8 years, so I'll take that. So let's get started. So the first game I want to talk about is a cooperative legacy board game, which is absolutely phenomenal, and that game is T.I.M.E Stories. So this masterpiece of a game basically is about a world where time travel is possible, and due to there being infinite timelines, things have got all very muddled. So you are an agent working for time, and you have to basically go back in time, inhabit a body to solve a mystery. However, there are certain problems. One, I think it's a government agency, the agency you are working for has only so many resources. So you need to be able to solve the mystery within a certain amount of time, and also you can be killed in that mystery, but of course your body will be resurrected and you will start again. This is the board. I was going to talk and hold it up, but I don't think I can. So for the first assignment, you are sent back in time to an asylum, and you can choose to inhabit the body of a number of different inmates, and then you start in a room. And the room basically consists of 7 cards face down, which creates an absolutely beautiful scene. The artwork is beautiful, and you can choose to investigate certain parts of the rooms, and you may pick up clues. You may have to do challenges with the rolls of dice, and you have to try and find your way through the asylum and react to what's happening, and do this before you either die, or, as I said, your time runs out because the agency cannot afford you to take that long, in which case you come out of the game and nearly everything gets reset. But of course you've learned from what's happened, and then you can continue. And it's just a fantastic, beautifully designed, gorgeous game, and I would highly recommend it. The only thing with it is this is very much a legacy game which is not replayable, because once you know what's happened, you know what's happened, but there's lots of different expansions and lots of different areas in time that you can go back and investigate. So the next game I want to talk about has been described as the most unbearably awkward board game on the earth. It's also been described as this broke me and my husband up, and that game is Fog of Love. This board game was actually made by the same people as T.I.M.E Stories, but for me, it just doesn't work. I find the mechanics off, and I think it could actually be really damaging to relationships wherever you are at, because it really plays on certain people's insecurities if you're unlucky enough to get certain cards. So first of all, the really fun bit is you get to create your own character, and it's really important that you create a distinctive character and not yourself to really be immersed in the game. And the game does allow this. It creates at random an occupation for you. It gives you certain traits, whether that's a beautifully defined handle brush moustache, or whether that's just you like to boogie. So you get all these traits and it makes your character, which is nice. You then need to embrace that character and be like, my actions are not actually me, they're just for fun. So that's really important. And your goal is to achieve a certain relationship status, whether that is true love or independence. Each go you have a different scenario, and that could be anything from buying someone roses, or the card asking what would be your ideal romantic evening, or you go to the shops and you see a chocolate and you know it's your partner's favourite. What do you do? And you both have to kind of anticipate what the other people will do and try and score certain traits to give yourself points, while also making the story flow. And I found the mechanics really clunky. I find the story element far more interesting than the game mechanics. I don't think the game mechanics are that amazing, maybe because I'm more interested to see how the story goes, and it's a bit annoying when you have to make a decision just to get a certain trait, and it kind of detaches from the character that I've tried to create for myself. So that again pulls me out of the game and makes it more real. Because there are certain issues in here, from everything from cheating or lying about a job, talking about each other's weight, or getting upset that someone's always late, that I could imagine could be really triggering for some people when playing this game. I'm in a very good long-term relationship. I love my partner very much. He's wonderful. But I could definitely see cards that could play on areas that we both know can be a little bit upsetting for the other person. And so discarding those cards helped. I also think this would be a great game to play with friends rather than loved ones, because then you can really embrace the fact that you're acting as lovers because you're not really lovers, so it makes it more fun and silly. I'll show you the board again. It's another chonky board, and I think you can see it's by the same people. There we go. There's all your traits. Do, 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 do. I can't sing and I'm super tired. Okay, and that is Imperial Assault. I'm sorry for that. That did just happen. This is the game that I have never once won. My partner, regardless whether he's played the Rebel Alliance or the Empire, has won every single go. So Imperial Assault is a strategy campaign game where you play one person who is the Empire, and then up one, I think, to 4 players can be the Rebel Alliance, and they are fighting. And the amazing thing about this board game is the 3D aspect and the boards. So you have actual little physical models that you move around the board that you have to strategize and think how to attack, and then you have different objectives and get different people, and you might have to go somewhere and save something to protect something, or destroy something, then try and kill something. And then at the end of each chapter you will level up, you will gain new abilities, you may gain new items to make you stronger and powerful. The big problem is if you don't win, you don't get as many good stuff. So by the time Rob had won like the 5th or 6th game, I was so weak that I feel like I was never going to beat him. So the map is made of loads of different puzzle pieces that you put together, which means there's lots of opportunities for lots of unique and different maps, which is really good fun. And let me get the little figures out. Look. So it just makes it so much more engaging and fun. It's almost got a little bit of a Warhammer vibe to me. I've only played it once or twice, and again I got annihilated, so maybe I'm just not good at strategy board games. So this game is fun, especially if you really like Star Wars, and I would recommend it. So the last game I want to talk about, the base game, I think I have played nearly 1,000 times over the last year with Rob and I, and that is Hero Rounds. And yes, there is a campaign that goes with the base game Hero Rounds. I don't have it right now because I lent it to a friend, but I will insert some clips in a minute. So Hero Rounds is my all-time favourite deck building game. It has a fantasy theme, it is highly portable, and I just absolutely adore it. The campaigns use this base game and have a very kind of D&D vibe. So in the first game, you end up following a cult and having to fight some big monsters. Yes, I play D&D. In the first game you end up having to do lots of different, like, again, chapters to complete the campaign, and you, rather than fighting against your opponent, are working together to go against the deck. And what's great is there's certain parts that include cards from the first deck, but you've also got lots of extra cards. So the first campaign was quite good, quite fun, but the second I got for Christmas, and it was amazing. In this one, you end up in a cursed village where there are loads of what seem to be possessed animals. And in the first game, it was very much that you and your partner are fighting against one baddie, where in the second game, there is a section where you are fighting loads of different possessed animals, from owls to wild boar to wolves, I think, to a raven, and each of them have very different characteristics and affect how you can play your deck. For example, I think it's the owl, which was Rob's nemesis for so long, which you can only play, you can only do it damage if you make someone discard a card. There's something that means you can only do damage if you only do certain things. And I had a lot more offensive hand, and most of the creatures that were attacking me weren't as, like, didn't have such clear defined damage rules. So I got through about 2 of these enemies. Rob was still there fighting this owl, keep on sending me this random possessed toad as well, and it was just ridiculous. And then Rob killed the owl, I got killed, and then Rob killed everything else because he'd managed to sacrifice, and sacrificing cards is one of the most powerful aspects of hero rounds, and in any game, if it goes on long enough, the sacrificer will always win. So I would really recommend the campaign for Hero Realms. I can't wait to play more of them. And again, as with the other game I mentioned earlier, Imperial Assault, after each chapter of each campaign, you get new items or new abilities, or you might get someone to join you and just make your deck stronger. And you can play the hero ones at different difficulties, and there is definitely a replay value to it, because depending what cards come out changes the dynamics of the game. So those are all my legacy games that I own. Let me know if you are playing any legacy games and whether I am actually missing out with playing Pandemic Legacy. Let me know if you have any legacy games where you literally, like, tear up the cards, which would be terrifying. I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm sorry that my YouTube videos have been a little bit more sporadic recently. I've had a bit of crazy but exciting stuff happening with my house. So I will tell you all about that soon if you're interested. And I will also hopefully soon have a cupboard which I can fill with board games. So you don't have to stare at Rob's music stuff and you'll still have to stare at me. So yeah, have a wonderful week, and bye bye.